Greetings, everyone. We will be starting our info session very shortly. Thank you. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to West Harlem Development Corporation's 2025 CBG info session. My name is Franklin Libbs, and I am the office coordinator here at WHDC. Before we start our info session, I would like to make a few quick points. 1, today's program is being recorded. 2, a video along with a transcription will be posted on our website in the coming days. 3, use the chat option for the tech issues and the Q&A option strictly for questions following the CBG presentation. Lastly, click on the More to have access to captions and language preference during this program. And without any further ado, I would like to introduce to you all our Special Projects Coordinator, Emma Sackfield. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us here today. And thank you, Frank, for that wonderful welcome and reminder of the rules. This morning, I'd like to introduce to you our Executive Director, Ziad Ramadan, to give us a greeting and a few tips, and welcome.
Hello, everyone. Good morning. Thank you for being here, and welcome to the CBG 2025. This is sort of a special year. We know how hard it's been with the federal administration cutting off funding for so many organizations like all of the non-for-profits in our community. We've heard about the struggles that many arts organizations, non-for-profits have been having, especially due to this administration's pretty much attack on anything DEI and anything in communities like ours. The West Harlem Development Corporation board and the leadership is committed to continuing to do their part to uplift and support the non-for-profits in West Harlem and the organizations that work and do work through their non-for-profits to serve the constituency in West Harlem as per our CBG 2025 application. Now, these are challenging times. What we've done is we're keeping the threshold for funding similar per individual applications. But we've been doing this for about 5 years now. I mean, we've been granting for many, many years, but in the format that we currently have with this current application, we've been doing it for about 5 years, and we really have to respect the hard work that our staff do. And when a lot of our applicants neglect to do their responsibilities, handing in applications on time, handing in reports on time, not responding to important information that's required in order to be successful in getting a grant, and then pursuing it to ensure that the impact and the promises they've made in their applications are kept. We cannot continue to have 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 out of 100 applications hold down our process and slow us up. And we're going to be a little bit more strict. Now, again, we weren't strict the first year or the second year or the third year or the fourth year, but we have to be, because as long as we're not, we're going to be taken advantage of. And I'm just going to put that plain to you as a friend, as a person from Northern Manhattan for 50 years, and as a non-for-profit person, practically all of my adult life. We know how it is, and we have to work hard to respect the process, respect the hard work that our staff does, and to make sure that the guidelines that we're giving to support our community are also respected. Because what WHDC strives to do is support our people, support our constituency, support the non-profits that serve them all, and we need them to respect the process, and to continue to support all of us in this circle as well. So I want to say thank you to Joanna and Emma and Franklin, who have been working diligently for your benefit to put out an application that helps provide services and have a significant impact in West Harlem. And we want to make sure that we continue to uplift our community during these difficult times. And we hope that you work with us to make it as easy as possible and to make sure that we can continue to serve the good people of West Harlem the best way that we can. Thank you so very much for being here, and I hope you listen carefully to the vital information that you're going to get to make your application easier. Follow instructions about asking questions at the right time, use the chat effectively, and have a wonderful info session and a wonderful day. And, let's work hard to do the right things for our people. Thank you very much. Before we move on, I'd like to do one thing with all of you together, please. This is very important. The Lion of Harlem has passed away. Charlie Rangel, our dear congressman and champion, and a person who has helped so many, thousands upon thousands of people, thousands of organizations over the 46 years that he represented the village of Harlem in the Congress of New York, in the Congress of America. And I'd like to take a 30-second moment of silence. I want you to keep this in your mind. No congressman in the history of Congress, the history, has ever brought more funding to their district than Charlie Rangel. And for that, he deserves that we memorialize him justly, and for all the tremendous sacrifices that he's made as the chairman of the Ways and Means Committee, the first African American to ever do that, and to be the ranking Democrat in Congress for so long, and for working for this community all of his life that he lived and died for. So if we can take 30 seconds of silence, I'd greatly appreciate it. Thank you very much. Emma, please proceed.
Thank you so much, Ziad, for that warm welcome. Moving forward, I'd like to introduce the rest of the WHDC staff. As we heard from Frank earlier, he is our office coordinator. Giving us the info session today, administering the info session today would be Joanna Castro, who is our WHDC Director of Programs. And thank you once again to Ziad Ramadan, our Executive Director here at the West Harlem Development Corporation. Again, my name is Emma Saki-Fio. I am the Special Projects Coordinator here at West Harlem Development Corporation. In proceeding with this info session, I'd like to introduce you all officially to Joanna Castro once again, who will be leading us in providing us with helpful and very important information on how to proceed with registering and navigating the platform in which we will all be using for organizations interested in applying for the grant.
Thank you, Emma. Good morning, everyone. So again, my name is Joanna Castro. I'm the Director of Programs here at the West Harlem Development Corporation. I will be going over the application as well as key elements of the Fluxx grants portal. Next slide, please. So the deadline to submit the application in full with all supporting materials is June 20th at 5 p.m. That's Friday, June 20th. We expect an even larger pool of applications this year. So the follow-up will be none to very, very minimal. I would recommend to submit the report to submit the application actually a few days before the deadline to avoid any technical glitches. The grant cycle will run July 1st, 2025 through June 30th, 2026. We expect to send out notifications in September and soon after the first installment payments to grantees. If you have any questions, please email us at grants@westharlemdc.org. I see that we have several returning grantees and applicants here today. As I think many of you can vouch, we strive to be as responsive as possible to emails. So please send an email instead of calling us. Next slide, please. So this is what our homepage looks like. We have as a header grants. You'll want to click on apply to the 2025 CBG. Every year we choose a new image. So a shout out to the Hort. We get these images from current grant cycle reports or the previous one. And every year we try to rotate and choose an image that we believe represents the West Harlem community. The lower part of the screen has 2 mobile devices as well as a desktop. Our website is westharlemdc.org. So that's where you can go and click on information about the CBGs. Next slide, please. Key elements of the application. Funding amounts will range from $5,000 up to $30,000 for 1 year of programming. Again, the program must start between July 1st of this year through June 30th, 2026. If you are a new applicant, our recommendation is to have your programming in the fall or in the spring of 2026. In case you do not receive all the funds you request or any at all, and you would have executed the program. At least 75% of the beneficiaries must be West Harlem residents. For organizations based outside the community, we expect a detailed track record in West Harlem and West Harlem partners. Applicants must be 501c3 organizations. Unfortunately, no LLCs, no individual artists. We ask that you have your financial information updated either through New York Charities Bureau, Candid, or ProPublica. We also expect public-facing events to have general liability and be ADA compliant. I'll go over in a little bit more detail about finances in a later slide. We only allow 1 application per organization, yet you may have different activities within that 1 application. On our website, you can download a document that has our guidelines, eligibility requirements, questions in the application. So that's a very useful document that will be addressing, if not all, most of your questions. All documents, as I mentioned a few moments ago, must be up to date. I would say start with your supporting documents first. They always take a little bit longer than you think they will. In regards to financial documents, we expect 3, 990 and the CHAR 500 from either 2023 or 2024. The 990 and/or organizational financial documents will depend on the size of your budget. So check the budget section in the Fluxx Portal to see what is required. The third financial document is the project budget, which is an Excel template. I will go into detail in the coming slides. Next slide, please. Key elements of a successful application. Carefully review the guidelines and eligibility requirements, particularly if you're a new applicant or a new contact for your organization. The document has, if not all, most of the questions that you will have. I use this image often. We're looking for as much detail as possible. We want a crisp Gordon Parks black and white photograph, not an impressionist painting. Make also your narrative as compelling as possible because we are expecting a larger pool of applicants for CBG 25. Returning applicants must submit their final report by the deadline, which is July 11th, 2025. This summer, we expect to be reading both final reports and applications. Be sure to proofread, have someone check that you're not using acronyms, that assume that the reader is intelligent, yet might not know about you or your organization. So you want to make sure that it's not only compelling, that the narrative is clear and you're addressing all key points. Next slide, please. I'd like to take a few moments to talk about AI. Organizations are welcome to use it in their application, yet again, make sure that you're submitting a compelling narrative and full application. Be aware of hallucinations, inaccuracies, and always fact check your content. Be sure to keep that human touch, even if you use other technical tools. Just so that you know, we will not be using AI during the review process of either the applications or final reports. That means that WHDC staff will continue to review both applications and reports manually. We will not be verifying if AI is being used by applicants or grantees. If anything changes, we will be sure to let you know. Next slide, please. Our priority areas will continue as they have in years past. They are economic and workforce development, health and human services, housing affordability and preservation, older adults, arts and culture, and youth. You will pick the best area that fits your project. So you will only be allowed to pick one priority area. In most instances, you will be allowed to pick one sub-priority area. In this year's CBG application, the only section that has a major update is arts and culture. The sub-priority areas are the various disciplines. Next slide, please. This is how we are scoring your application. These categories are hyperlinked to the different sections in your application. I will be going over them in a bit more detail. Executive summary is highlighted. We want you and we invite you to be as specific, as succinct, as concise as possible in the summary so that it best describes your project. We use your executive summary when we are taking a second look, when we're in panel review. So you want to spend a considerable amount of time here as part of your application. Next slide, please. In the coming slides, we will be talking about Fluxx. Fluxx is the grant portal we use. If you want to know or want a refresher and more detail, you can visit our YouTube page for a recording of a Fluxx seminar we did a few years ago. So a couple of points. One, you want to bookmark the Fluxx website, which is westharlemdc.fluxx.io. You will use this link to access an application and ultimately a report. If you're a new applicant, you will want to create an account, and you will do that on the bottom right hand of the screen, and where it says create new account. Each contact should have their own account. Please don't use multiple logins for one user. Please do not share a login for more than one user. Again, our website is westharlemdc.org. So you're looking at two websites, our website as well as Fluxx. Next slide, please. If you're a returning applicant or grantee and forgot your login or your password rather, click on reset. Please do not create a new account. We will delete it from the back end. Fluxx allows one primary contact and one signature. So you want to keep that in mind when you're creating an account. Next slide, please. So this is the welcome screen for everyone, whether a new or a returning applicant. I want to spend some time on key buttons. So when you start the application, you want to click on the 2025 CBG. This is what you will see on the right-hand side. So what you're seeing in blue are the sections within the application that are hyperlinked. On the top right side, you click on edit when you are starting to either upload documents or type in narrative. You can print out a draft by clicking on the printer icon. When you are done, you want to make sure you hit submit. It's happened in more than one occasion that when you've already uploaded all supporting documents and completed all of the questions, folks forget to hit submit. We will not review applications in draft form. So make sure you hit submit. Once you do, you get an automatic email from Fluxx saying that we received your application. Another note, once you go to the application that very first time, you start either uploading documents or working on the narrative, you want to make sure you're always working on one application. We've seen in the past that folks have 3 or 4 versions of the application, so you always want to be working on one application. Next slide, please. Fluxx does not auto-save, so hit save frequently. On the bottom right-hand side, you will see key buttons. Save as you're uploading documents or typing in narrative. If you are stepping away from the screen, you'll want to hit save and close. Right before you submit the application, my recommendation is to hit save and close and then hit submit, which will be in green. Next slide, please. This is the very last section of the, this is, my apologies, this is the top section of the application. So you'll type in, or it will automatically populate the name of the organization, because you as a user are connected to an organization. The primary contact and the primary signature can be 2 different people. We want to always make sure that the contacts are always up to date. If they're not, please create a new account. We also ask that you include a phone number. We will not be calling applicants in the evening or on weekends. Yet, if we have a question about your application, we will make a first attempt to do so via email. If not, we will call. So please include a valid contact number. We also invite applicants to use the text enriched option in all of the narrative questions. That's the second part where you can bold, underline, indent. It makes the reading easier. So please utilize this opportunity to enhance key parts of your text. Next slide, please. Here are the required documents. So we're inching closer towards the end of the application. Where it says required documents, those are the 4 that you will need to upload individually. You will do so by clicking on the plus sign. Make sure you're labeling, each one is labeled properly. We've had in the past instances of folks updating either the incorrect file or personal information. If you have any questions, again, send an email to grants@westharlemdc.org. We strive to be as responsive as possible. The gray box indicates the documents you will need to upload depending on the size of your budget. In lieu of uploading the documents, you can also send a PDF or a Word document with a link to your current and most updated profile, either in the New York Charities Bureau, Candid, or ProPublica. Again, you're seeing the buttons cancel, save, save, and close. So you want to be hitting save, either save and save and close regularly. If the information is not saved, you can't backtrack. So that's why we ask that you save regularly. Next slide, please. The third financial document that you will be uploading to your application is the WHDC project budget template. It's an Excel document with different tabs. Instructions are how to complete it. We want you to only complete the grant budget, which has 4 sections. The top part is your organizational information. Please complete it in full, followed by income, expenses, and the last part, so part 4, is the person who completed the budget. It does not have to be the same person as the primary contact or the signature. It has to be someone who knows the numbers and is able to answer an email regarding anything about the budget. There's also a budget narrative. And so a couple of notes here. The budget narrative and the chart should not have the exact same information. The narrative should complement what's in the chart and provide even more detail. So potential questions that you want to be answering are, why is the cost necessary? How does it align with the goals of the project? How are the calculations made? If the application has inflated numbers, vague numbers, or misaligned numbers, it will make your application as a whole less competitive. Once you've completed this tab, you will want to download it, PDF it, and upload it onto your application. Next slide, please. This is the tail end of your application. You will want to click on the 4 documents that you will need to upload to your application. Otherwise, it will not let you submit. The person who completed the application is the one who will be typing in their first and last name and their title. Again, our website is westharlemdc.org. The website for Fluxx is westharlemdc.fluxx.io. So this concludes the CBG and the Fluxx presentation, and now Emma will go over a few CBG related items. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Joanna, for that insightful run through of our 2025 CBG site application. Moving forward, I would like to share some announcements in regards to WHDC calendar, our affiliates, and the CBG as well, for those of you who will be granted an award. First off is our free rental space made available through Columbia University through the in-kind program. This is a program that was started last April, spring, and it allows organizations based in West Harlem to go ahead and submit applications to host public-facing programs. The application is available on our website at westharlemdc.org, westharlemdc.org, and it opens up every first full week of each month. We have one coming up this June 2nd. So if you are interested, please go onto our website and have a look at the application. Make sure you keep a keen eye out for the guidelines, because this is a highly competitive application. It is processed by WHDC staff. So it is very important to make sure that you have a detailed description of your event. It is also important that if you are not a West Harlem-based organization but are still interested in applying, that you partner with a West Harlem organization that you have a relationship with. Please keep in mind that this is not the same as the CBG application. They are two separate applications that one would have to submit for. However, if you are awarded with a CBG grant, it is important to note that you are able to submit applications for your CBG related programming. Another aspect of our upcoming calendar is West Harlem Art Alliance's upcoming events this summer. They are hosting a series of free outdoor jazz concerts here in Harlem at 4 of our parks. They have been an incubator at West Harlem Development Corporation, and we are proud to share this calendar with you. For more information, please do visit their website at whaanyc.org. They also do have a section of their website that allows organizations to promote themselves, join their directory, and post their upcoming events in West Harlem. So please do make sure that you share your happenings and your calendar events with them as well. We're also happy to announce the publishing of our 2024 year in review. Here we have one of our 2024 grantee recipients featured on the cover, Dances for Variable Population. They received a grant last year for facilitating programming for older adults in regards to enriching lifestyle and habits through dance. They are one of our arts and cultural recipients and older adults. So please do keep in mind that if you want to read this and check out more of what happened in 2024 for us here at West Harlem, to visit our website at westharlemdc.org. Coming up, we will also like to answer a few of your burning questions. During the registration process and securing your spot for the info session, we ask that you submit any questions or inquiries through your registration. For those of you who were able to submit questions in advance, we will address those questions first. And for those of you who have not yet submitted questions but had some arise during the process of this info session, we will take a minute or so to allow you all to utilize the Q&A section of this webinar to submit your questions. In the meantime, for those of us waiting, we ask that you scan the QR code currently on the screen. If you haven't already, to view the application, start working on your application, or see how the portal is navigated for your testing purposes. I'm going to go ahead and take a minute to allow you all to submit your questions and your questions.
Okay, so we will begin to answer questions. If they start becoming very, very specific, we will follow up via email. So Emma, if you want to start reading out questions that were submitted when people registered for this webinar, we'll start there.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Joanna. So I will go ahead and read the pre-submitted questions, and then Joanna will graciously give us a response. First of all, thank you for submitting your questions. The first question here I have is from Ice Theater of New York, from the Executive Director, Jarina Ribbons. And pardon me if I mispronounced that. She asked, we previously only applied for seniors to work at our office. How does that affect our ability to apply for future grants?
So applications are not to pay staff per se. Our application process or our applications are for programs. What does that mean? That part of the budget can go to an individual, to a staff member or a consultant. It should not be the bulk of how the WHD funds will be used. This will not make the application competitive. Next question, please.
All right, our next question is from Youth Construct Inc., put forth by Mola Bolton. And she asks, is a full application needed for renewal? Pardon me.
I'm not sure what that question, not understanding what that question is.
Let me
So-
rephrase this. I
Okay.
believe Moira Bolton is asking, in order to reapply for a CBG grant, must one submit a full application, or is a previous application submitted? Do they have the ability to roll over a previous application submitted?
So yes and no. Each application is reviewed carefully and manually by WHDC staff. We are aware that programs, for example, festivals, teen internship programs take place every year, yet we don't want to see a copy and paste from a previous application because we will cross-check it and it will make the application less competitive. So you want to be addressing what has changed, what hasn't, what new elements are part of this new application process, of this new application cycle.
All right, if we answered your question clearly, or you need more clarification, please do put it in the chat, and we have the ability to allow you to ask your question in person. Moving on to our next question, last of the pre-submitted questions. We have Yvonne Fevnot, the Executive Director of STEM Kids New NYC. And she asks, my account is active, however, I cannot create a new application. What are the steps towards reactivating the account? And is there assistance provided?
So if the account is active, the applicant should be able to access the Fluxx welcome page and be able to click on the 2025 CBG application. If that's not the case, please send us an email. That email is grants@westharlemdc.org. If you can take a screenshot of what you're seeing, it helps us to better identify the technical glitch. We are trying to have as quick a turnaround responding to your queries, whether technical or related to the application, as quickly as possible.
All right. Thank you. Our next cycle of questions will be those submitted in the Q&A. So please do make sure you put in your questions this last minute. We do have a cutoff. The rest of the questions that are not addressed during the info session will be addressed via email. So we have another question from Ms. Ribbons, who asks, we have 2 programs at Riverbank State Park, an arts exposure program and a free public 1-hour-long performance program. Which one is better? Which one is a better fit for this grant? And should I apply for both?
We can't vet before an application is submitted. I would say submit the one that you believe is most compelling. At the same time, you can submit an application that has several activities. What we will not review and will make less compelling is if you're submitting 2 applications under one. So if you can connect the activities as part of an umbrella program, you can do that. If you are trying to submit an application that has 2 very different elements, it will make it difficult for us to review.
All right. Our next question is from Gwendolyn Black. And the question is, I have some confusion with the previous budget requirements. Can there be more clarification as to what needs to be submitted regarding our operating year? After going back and forth with submissions, I submitted, but will still need clarity. Thank you.
I would say look at what you ultimately submitted if you are a returning grantee, and that's what you want to resend. So for the organizational budget, you want to submit the document according to the budget size. The CBG application will only consider rather 50% or less of the total budget expenses. So you want to keep that in mind. You also want to show that you have other income, whether it's pending or confirmed. So you will want to indicate that in the budget section. If you have inclined, do not include it in the Excel or in the template. You'll want to detail it in the narrative portion of your application.
All right. We also have a question from Brioni Romer, who says, thank you for this presentation. In the past, WHDC has had a space for submitting supplemental information with the proposal, such as photographs, links, videos, and letters from partnering organizations. Is this still something the reviewers would look at and take into account?
Yes, if you want to submit additional information, you may. Please keep it to 1 or 2 links or 1 or 2 documents, no more than that. If you are a returning grantee, make sure that your final report is robust. As I mentioned during the presentation this summer, we will be reading both final reports and applications. Emma, I think you muted yourself by accident.
I did. Thank you so much, Joanna. We also have a question here as a reminder to share once more when the final report template will be available and when it's due.
So the 2024 CBG final report template will go live in the coming days, no more than a week. An email will be sent to all current grantees. The deadline to submit it is July 11th. You can submit it at any point between when it goes live and up until July 11th. If you do not submit your final report and have applied to the 2025 CBG, it will hurt your application and make it less competitive.
The next question is asking, our office or the venue is in Harlem. Where does the programming also have to be in West Harlem?
Yes, so the 2025 CBG is for West Harlem programming. If your program takes place outside of the district, it will be less competitive. If your organization is in Harlem, that's nice. Harlem can be East Harlem, West Harlem, Central Harlem. You will need to be specific. We will research it. We will cross-check, plus both your 990 and your chart 500 will have your address.
The next question is about a budget. It's put forth by one Miss Risner. And she asks, regarding the required financials, our budget is over 750,000, and we complete an independent review form an accountant puts together, but not an audit. As it's not required by New York State until we hit 1 million, is it okay to submit our independent review in lieu of the audit for our budget purposes?
Yeah, so as indicated in the budget section of the application, that document would be fine.
Okay, our next question states, put forth by Stan Altman. If WHDC grants only cover the full budget cost, does the budget reflect the full project's budget or only the portion funded by WHDC?
So the project budget is the total amount that you expect you need for the execution of your project. So we are looking to fund no more than 50% of that total.
Okay. The following question says, can we apply for the grant to cover future months?
So the program must take place during the grant cycle. So you cannot be looking for WHDC funds to be covering the following year or to be or cover time that has already passed. So the programming, the planning and programming must take place during the grant cycle, which is July 1st, 2025 through June 30th, 2026.
All right. Our next question put forth by Linda Hamilton asks, can your grantee organization that is not actually based in West Harlem, but programs for youth in West Harlem also apply for and utilize the in-kind space program at Columbia University without partnering with a West Harlem organization?
So if an applicant is from outside the district, the narrative component of the CBG application must indicate both a track record in West Harlem as well as West Harlem partners. The same for an in-kind application, otherwise the application will be less competitive.
The next question put forth by Abigail Haslam asks, which portion would you say takes the most time in the grant application process that you'd advise applicants to start off with first, right away?
I would say gathering all supporting materials, because that usually entails communicating with an accountant or a consultant or a board member.
I have a follow-up here that goes ahead to go in terms of written portion. Just got that in the chat. In terms of the written submissions, would you advise to start off with?
I would start with really any other questions. Which I didn't mention during the presentation, is to start writing in a Word document and then transfer all the answers, do a copy paste to Fluxx. What I would recommend is at the end of writing or answering all of the narrative to revisit and finalize the project summary. So that would be my recommendation. Another note is folks type directly into Fluxx, and my sense is that folks start typing in their answers directly in Fluxx, and it's easier to have typos, misspells. If you have it in a Word document, you can play around with the font, have it easier to read, to print, before transferring it over to Fluxx.
Okay. Just as a really quick reminder before I continue with the Q&A, I just want to let you all know that there is a post webinar survey that we would like for attendees to go ahead and complete and submit.
While Emma is adding the link, just want to backtrack for a moment regarding organizations that have a budget of $50,000 or less. You will want to submit proof of your 990 postcard along with a profit and loss and operating budget signed by either the board treasurer and or an accountant, not by the executive director.
Okay.
So the profit and loss and balance sheet should be of the organization, not the project, because this is these two documents are in lieu of a 990.
Okay. We have Juliana Friedman asking if we can review the process for the CB9 panel and any upcoming meeting guidelines for that.
So I'm guessing this is a question regarding a presentation once an applicant becomes a grantee. The only thing I can say right now is if you become a CBG, meaning if you become a grantee, you will want to reach out to a committee as soon as you can, meaning late fall and not wait until the beginning of the year because most likely there will be a bottleneck.
Okay. We also have a follow-up question regarding the financial report put forth by Lillian Marin, and she asks, for the financial report, is the 990 enough of the prior year? Or can we upload the 2023 990 if we haven't filed for 2024 yet?
Yes, so as mentioned earlier in the presentation, we are looking for either a 2023 or a 2024.
Okay. The
990.
next question is by Nola Bolton. If we applied for a previous year and skipped a year, are we considered a new applicant or an old applicant or returning applicant?
You're considered a returning applicant, yet you want to make sure that you provide any updates, any changes in the organization, any updates or changes in the programming. We will go back to the previous application in our notes, yet you want to make sure you're not using acronyms. One of the phrases I used early in the presentation is assume the reviewer is intelligent, yet might not know about you or your organization.
Now, Lillian Marin, who is the executive director of Artistic Dreams Internationals, would like to know if there's any supplemental material, photos or sample items that is required for programming or submission of the application. So we do have 5 more questions.
Okay, so I think we're gonna answer these 5, and if we did not answer your question, please email us at grants@westharlemdc.org.
Yes.
So in regards to Lillian's question, so that's a 2-part answer. 1, take advantage if you are a current grantee who is submitting a final report to make your report as robust as possible, because we are reading both the applications and reports, and we're reading them at the same time if it's the same entity. The other is you want to make your case in the application, yet you want to have maybe 1 or 2 links, 1, no more than 2 marketing materials in your application, if particularly you are a returning grantee.
Now, this one says, is it okay to submit applications for activities that are occurring in August of 2025 in our proposal?
That's a tricky question. It's a gamble. So it's up to the organization if you want to gamble or play it safe, because there could be a possibility that your application is rejected and or you are awarded part of your request. So it's up to the organization. My recommendation would be to play it safer and apply for programming either late fall, winter, or in the spring. As I mentioned during the beginning of the conversation, we expect an even larger pool of applicants.
Okay.
For this grant cycle.
Okay, so the next question put forth by Daria in Dospec. This is our last question. In order to plan our program, and I'm thinking, well, let me read this. In order to plan our program, we need to know months in advance the availability of venues. I'm guessing this is in regards to the in-kind program we have here at West Harlem Development Corporation. For this reason, would we need to apply for future months, or can this be done in stream? And the note here is for venues like the Forum.
So I would say you can apply as early as you'd like for an in-kind space, knowing it's competitive, knowing that we strive to be responsive, yet the responses are not immediate. So you will want to have a backup location just in case. Another note for the in-kind, as Emma mentioned, the portal opens up the first week of each month. And so you can apply 2 to 3 months in advance, 4 months in advance. So the sweet spot would probably be not a month before, because the turnaround might not be that quick, particularly given that this summer we are reviewing over 100 final reports and even more applications, most likely.
Awesome. Thanks again so much. We will go ahead and leave this link up for those of you who still need to access the survey, the post-webinar survey. This will conclude the info session for our upcoming West Harlem Development Corporation 2025 Community Benefits Grants segment. And for those of you who intend to send us an email to ask your questions, you can please feel free to send it to grants@westharlemdc.org. For those of you who have plans of asking us questions or inquiring about non-community benefit grants related items, please do send us an email at info@westharlemdc.org. For any last words you may have, Joanna, please feel free. You have the floor.
Thank you, Emma. Not much. I think this is a wrap. Thank you again for joining us this morning. We hope that this info session was helpful. Please email us. We are trying to streamline everything via email, and so that's the best way to reach us. So again, it's grants@westharlemdc.org, and we wish you all the best with this 2025 CBG application. Thank you.
Thank you all. Have a wonderful rest of the day and take care.